She said she needed space and started sleeping in the guest room. I didn't argue. I waited. A week later, I cloned her phone. Another week, I knew the room she booked, the name she used, and the man she let in. I never confronted her. I just started building. The first recording was from outside the hotel's stairwell. He arrived separately. Same pattern every Thursday. I filmed from my car using a camcorder with a high zoom range. Her check-in was under a first name only, Anna. The ID was fake, not hard to order online. That explained why the hotel staff didn't question her. I paid for the room next door the following week. I planted an audio recorder through the wall vent. Nothing illegal. It stayed on my side. The mic picked up everything. Moaning, names, laughs. I timestamped it all. I compiled it into folders. Evidence wasn't for court. It was for the aftermath. 2 weeks in, I followed him to his job. I found his real name. I found his wife. Yes, he had one. They had 2 kids. He wasn't my friend. He was just a man who acted invincible. I mailed a flash drive to his wife. No note, just raw files. Let her interpret it. The return address was a P.O. box rented under an alias. No trails. By the 3rd week, I had enough. She still played pretend at home, said she was stressed, work pressure, hormones. I didn't respond. I just listened, watched. I made 3 more copies of the evidence folder, labeled each one with neutral names, uploaded one to a hidden drive, scheduled the link for release. Everything had a timestamp now. Every word, every entry, every lie. She didn't see it coming because I didn't flinch. No change in tone, no confrontation, just precision. The buildup was nearly done. The release was staggered. Phase 1 started Friday morning. The USB drives arrived by mail. Her parents, her boss, and her closest friend. All recipients were chosen based on who she'd least want to see her exposed. The drives were labeled with dates, no instructions, just plug and play. Each contained the same unedited folder. By Friday afternoon, she received the first call. She didn't say anything to me, but I saw her pacing on the porch, phone in hand, back stiff. She looked at me twice. I didn't react. That night, she didn't come home, said she needed time. I didn't ask where she was going. I already knew. I checked the tracker hidden under her car. She went to him. I uploaded the full folder to a mirror site, an unlisted link, embedded it inside a shared community thread under a random name, tagged it lightly so it wouldn't spread fast, just enough to be seen by someone. By Monday morning, it was shared 4 times. Tuesday, she was removed from a local women's board. Quietly. No announcement, just a change in the staff directory. Wednesday, her mother came by. Knocked 3 times. I didn't answer. She slid a note under the door. I burned it. Phase 2 was financial. I had transferred funds steadily over the past month. She noticed only when I closed the joint account. She texted once, "Where's the money?" I didn't answer. The following week, I handed in my resignation at work. Not because of stress, because the plan needed the final act. Something clean, something permanent. I booked a one-way flight, not to run, not to escape, to disappear on my terms, because revenge isn't about noise, it's about being remembered for how quiet the knife went in. The one-way flight was booked under a separate identity. Everything tied to the new name had already been laid out. I didn't need much. A place to land, a way to vanish. I sold the car a day before departure. Assets liquidated. Deleted all online profiles, changed every password, disabled all recovery emails. She wouldn't be able to trace any of it. Before leaving, I left her a single envelope in the kitchen drawer. Inside were the finalized divorce papers, her new bank details, and a printed screenshot of every place her affair had been viewed. It was clean. No note, no emotion, just data. I boarded the flight with 1 carry-on bag, no checked luggage, nothing sentimental. Arrival was uneventful, a mid-sized town, quiet, blue collar, no connections to my past. I picked up the apartment keys from a lockbox, entered, locked the door behind me, and didn't turn on the lights right away. I opened the laptop, checked the view count. The folder had been copied, saved, reposted in new places. One upload had over 12,000 hits. I had done nothing but plant the seeds. Her world was burning, and I didn't have to fan the flames. The next day, I got a haircut, bought work clothes at a secondhand store, logistics completed, paid rent 6 months ahead, all cash. The employer I applied to called, interview scheduled. No background check issues. I stayed offline. I didn't respond to unknown numbers. The old life was quarantined. I wasn't running. I'd already finished what I came to do. and now I was no one to her. Just a name she used to wear like jewelry, now missing without explanation. The ultimate revenge wasn't just exposing her. It was erasing myself from the life she destroyed. Week 1 in the new city passed with no friction. I passed background checks. I clocked in. I took direction without commentary, blended in. The apartment was bare but functional, mattress on the floor, second-hand table, no wall decor, communications restricted, no incoming calls, no voicemail. The job was mechanical. Load inventory, verify barcodes, clock out. Every hour spent in motion erased a piece of the past without ceremony. Co-workers kept their distance. I didn't give them a reason not to. By week 2, I bought a gym membership with cash. No contract. No locker. The uploads of her affair continued circulating, not by me, by others who'd saved and reposted. I monitored it once a week. The thread had taken on a life of its own. Names guessed, context added, faces matched. Someone had reverse searched the hotel check-in photos and connected her to her workplace. One commenter mentioned she hadn't been seen in days. Her life was shrinking. Her affair partner's company had removed his profile. The wife I mailed the flash drive to had posted cryptic updates on a parenting forum. Nothing explicit, just phrases, new chapter, new locks, no more lies. I hadn't contacted her, didn't need to. She understood. Nothing linked back to me, no fingerprints, no confessions, only silence. That silence now was everything she had left. And I never said a word. Month 1 passed. I had a routine: wake, work, gym, sleep. Minimal friction, no loose ends, no inquiries. I replaced the burner phone, one-way contact only, in case something required it. It never did. At the library terminal, the affair thread had gone quiet. Most links dead, some videos archived, one copy was still live, re-uploaded by someone with no obvious link to me. A backup of a backup of a backup. The internet never forgets. A real estate listing came up for the house we used to share. Her name wasn't on it. The agent's site had a motivated seller tag. That meant urgency. Either she couldn't afford it or didn't want to stay. I saved the listing for records. Nothing more. A search of her name returned scraps. Canceled board appointments, outdated profiles, inactive social media. She'd erased herself, just like I did. But my erasure was intentional. That week, I shredded the last piece of physical evidence, last personal record. I burned the strips in secure container behind the apartment complex. I didn't look back, not even once. The next phase didn't require effort, just patience. I monitored my credit reports weekly. No hits, no searches, new identity stable, rent paid on time, no debt, nothing flashy. The silence was security. At work, I earned a raise. Nothing major, just enough to upgrade to a studio with better locks and fewer questions. The landlord asked no personal details. I offered 6 months up front. That was enough. I deleted the last backup of the affair footage. The final folder had lived on external storage in remote location. I smashed the drive and disposed of the pieces separately. I took up swimming twice a week, not for fitness, just rhythm. Lapse, breathe, turn, repeat. It mirrored the structure I'd built, controlled, repeatable, quiet. Months passed, no contact, no trace of her. Her name never resurfaced, not online, not in threads, not in searches, as if the digital world buried her too. The only trace of the story was a viral repost under a title I didn't recognize. The comments speculated endlessly. No one knew the source. That was by design. Revenge didn't need credit, only result, and by every measurable standard, it had landed. The last digital trace disappeared 6 months later. The upload account hosting the affair footage was terminated without warning. No warning, no backup, no closure. I didn't try to preserve it. The message had been delivered. Its utility expired. I cleaned out stored belongings, shredded old paperwork, disposed of everything I hadn't already removed. The alternate identity record was renewed by routine method. Everything about my life now functioned with minimal exposure. My job shifted me to night shifts. I accepted without pushback. Fewer people, fewer questions. I worked, slept, swam, and repeated. Occasionally, a new tenant in the building asked what brought me here. I said, job offer. That was enough. My calendar had no anniversaries, no reminders. I never visited old addresses, even virtually. No searches, no slips. Full severance. Somewhere out there, her life existed, altered, minimized, maybe rebuilt. I didn't know. I didn't plan to find out. She didn't know where to look, and even if she did, there was no trace to follow. I hadn't just punished her. I had deleted the context she relied on. I became the ghost that walked away while she stayed behind, burning. I maintained two separate accounts, one tied to the job, one used solely for monitoring. No correspondence, just alerts, search mentions, financial movements, public court records. Her name resurfaced once. It appeared on a docket listing for a civil case involving breach of ethics. Nothing criminal filed by her former employer. Likely fallout from the affair surfacing through back channels. No outcome posted. Just that a settlement conference had been scheduled. I archived the alert. No reaction, no follow-up. I updated my files, not for vengeance, just records. I marked it closed. The man, the one she met in the hotel, was no longer married. His ex-wife filed quietly, no media, just a processed request in a different state. Her public records listed a change of address, a new last name, and sole custody. She had landed on her feet. He hadn't. His employment history stopped 2 months after the affair footage surfaced. No updates since. No profiles. No business listings. A blank digital trail. That kind of silence usually came from being pushed out. I removed him from monitoring. He was no longer relevant. What I set in motion had moved beyond me. By the 9th month, I had cleared every remaining link. Nothing connected. No open loops. No remaining players. And still I checked once a month, not from fear, but from precision. A system isn't complete unless you maintain it. The apartment lease renewed without question. I signed it under the same alias. No visitors, no mail under the old name, no exposure. I registered for a certification course in logistics, paid in full, in person. The kind of skill that left no room for small talk. Results only. I built a budget on paper. No apps, no cloud. I lived on 40% of income, stockpiled the rest. The savings weren't for plans. They were for insulation. Every trace of the former life was now historical data. Irrelevant, archived, forgotten by most. Still available to those who looked, but no one looked anymore. She hadn't reached out, not directly. No letters, no anonymous accounts. The absence was absolute. I knew the type of silence she lived in now. Every email she received might carry a link. Every knock might be someone who saw. Every mirror might echo the name she buried. That wasn't paranoia. That was the echo of exposure. I never made her pay with words. I made her live in a world that always remembered, even when no one was speaking. And I didn't need to watch her fall to know that she had. The kind of fall that happens in private, where there's no applause, only ruin. The 10th month marked the end of my monitoring routine. No more logins, no more search sweeps. I burned the checklist I had followed weekly. I shredded the last backup of her personnel records, the court docket printouts, and the real estate flyer, each page gone in seconds. Then I changed jobs. Lateral move, similar role, different warehouse, different shift, same rules, no social overlap, no personal disclosure. The name I used had become second nature. I could pass lie detector tests with it now. Every habit I had built replaced the ones before. Identity wasn't a mask, it was architecture. One final check. Her original name showed up once, an online flyer for a self-help seminar. No photo, just a name and a date, nothing else. That was the only surviving whisper. I deleted the bookmark. My rent renewed. My new ID was accepted everywhere it needed to be. The line between then and now wasn't a boundary. It was a sealed door. I took a long walk that night. No phone, no destination, just a loop through empty streets long after anyone would notice. This wasn't a celebration. It wasn't closure. It was confirmation. Revenge wasn't about pain. It was about control. And now, there was nothing left to control. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and let's hear what you'd have done in this situation. Until next time, take care.